Poorest Ghana is, even within countrywide, is neglected in the first place. It is considered as the last born of the country. And by its location and then climatic conditions, it is easily forgotten of. It's neglected, that's the word.
The UN in 2010 described Lawra as suffering from 100% poverty incidence with chronic food shortages. So at the time, only 23% of children in the district of Lawra were accessing education. If you don't go to school in Lawra and you don't learn English, you are trapped in a cycle of poverty that it's very difficult to escape. The local language is Dogari, and that geographically doesn't spread particularly far. So the children don't learn English, they have no opportunities outside of Lawra.
We have seen a lot of organizations that came with the intention to help, but then within the twinkle of an eye, they have vanished into thin air.
Until February 2012, I was a primary school teacher working in Newbury at the Winchcombe School, and I was granted a sabbatical to go and do a year as a VSO volunteer. My role was Teacher Support Officer, tasked with raising standards of literacy and numeracy in 96 local primary schools. Right from the beginning, it was very apparent to me that Lawra was extremely different to the south of the country. It's a very isolated, remote, rural community. I lived in a house in the middle of a piece of scrubland and spent much of my days watching the children surrounding my house. I watched them not attend school, the free government education that was available to them. I watched them forage for fruits. I watched them go hunting with their catapults. I initially tried to keep quite tight bounds with these children because there were so many of them, and VSO advised that you have a professional relationship with your community. But that all changed for me when a little boy was brought to my door one evening with his sister, and she asked me to take him to the hospital. My motorbike was outside my house, and the hospital was 2 kilometres away. But I said I would not take that child to the hospital, and the next day the family came to tell me that he was dead, which was something that I felt very responsible for and very guilty about, and still do. From that day, my boundaries completely disintegrated. I swung entirely in the opposite direction, and I'd formed very close relationships with many of the children living around my home. By the time I left for a holiday in September of that year, so I've been there since February, I had children in my kitchen, on my doorstep, and firmly embedded in my heart. On day one of this holiday, I was explaining to my parents and sister the dreadful things that I was witnessing and finding very difficult, and they immediately agreed to do everything that they could to help. By the end of that lunch, we had agreed to try and do something to specifically help those children and adults living in the area around my home. And by November 2012, Affections for Enterprise was a UK registered charity and an NGO in Ghana. And I decided not to return to teaching.
So many people have ideas, but they don't have anything to do with these ideas because they don't have the funds. ATE has come to lift those dreams, has come to give them hope, and they are making it now, making it better.
ATE is more or less giving a support to people for them to determine their future.
We work with 30 local consultants and Habib and many local organisations to really make the change that is happening through our programmes. We have 3 projects working specifically in Lawra. Our first project is Educate.
An empty sack cannot stand. That is a saying, you gotta push this child to the school, the stomach is empty. Whatever you say, it will not enter. So first of all, you have to make the sack stand, then you can carry it. The children in general, if they are not in school, they'll probably be taking around the animals to feed, washing bowls, washing clothes, going for water, fetching it from a distance, then doing the house errand for the parents.
Our people are farmers and the communities are scattered all over. The farthest person is like 45 minutes ride on a bike. Some of them don't get to eat in the morning before they come to school. During break, a lot of them either move into town to search for food to eat, or they move into the bush searching for wild berries. If they are hungry, you don't get their attention. They become weak, and some even sleep.
Instead of going to free government schools, many children in this part of the world spend their days searching for something to eat. So on the 7th of January 2013, we launched our first school feeding programme at Cabo Primary School, which is about enabling children to access the free government education that is available to them literally on their doorstep. 3 years of feeding at that school and the transformation is visible. The children are healthy and happy. We know that the average weight of a child at that school has increased, and the height as well. Attendance at that school has rocketed to 96% and has remained above 90% ever since we started feeding them. And in January 2015 we launched into our second school, and just last week we launched into our third.
We were told last term at one of our PTA's meetings that they were going to come into our school if we cooperate with them by constructing a kitchen.
So the schools are required to build this school kitchen before any money is sent to them for any school ingredients. And we've actually found in all 3 of our schools this has been really successful. It gives them ownership of the project. It means that they have invested something personally in that as a community. Every parent has to contribute towards the cost of that, and they have to come and assist with the labour. So it's a really big project for them to undertake, particularly if they don't know us that well, and they might be nervous about whether this is going to really happen, but they do it. They have hope and faith.
When we reopened and I told them that we were going to start with the feeding, they were not very sure. But the very day we reopened, they saw that we started cooking. So they all reacted to it quickly, and they brought their bowls. And every morning, each person is eager to bring a bowl and to be fed. It's quite amusing. Just for the few days of this feeding, we have seen that the children are attentive. Even during the afternoon lesson, they are still active.
We carry out 6 monthly rigorous processes at all of our schools, including height and weight and attendance analyses. We also talk to all the staff, the cooks, the children, everybody at the school to make sure that what is meant to be happening is happening.
We are really changing their future. If the background is very weak, the family cannot feed him or even take care of some petty needs. Such children sometimes drop out of school, but with this feeding, it will encourage a lot of them to continue and to even study hard.
And at our schools, after year 1 of feeding, our programme becomes more holistic. We're not just providing food for these children, we look at the needs of those children and address anything that they need to make sure that they can come to school. So for example, we pay for health insurance, because a sick child is not going to be able to come to school in the morning. We provide shoes for those families that can't afford them, uniforms. We've built classrooms.
That is the main thing that ATE is coming in to do. It's not just feeding them, but letting them go higher.
The impact of a daily meal is immeasurable. Poverty may be complicated, but feeding hungry children is not.
My name is Peace Zobasek, and my child's name too is Lesson Zobasek. And I gave birth to her. She was okay. She could talk, she could walk, she could eat, she could do anything by herself. And I also get time to go to work. But when she was about 1.5 years, getting to 2 years, and then she started having this convulsion. So now I have to do everything for her. I have to bath her, feed her, give her water, do everything for her. So now it is not easy.
Well, if you are having a child with this disability, some people say maybe the mother is a witch, that is why she's having a child like that. So because of that, they don't want to associate with you.
In Lawra and many other parts of Africa, to have a child with a disability is seen to be a curse. It's shameful not to be normal, and many of these children are shunned from the community, which has a real impact not only on that child but also the families around them.
They usually lock these children home and go out. And one reason why they do that, if they carry this child out and they are selling, nobody will buy, because they will see that child as an evil thing.
Patients told us her daughter has cerebral palsy, that she was advised by the community to leave Michelle in a bush. She was the devil. That child's now accessing mainstream education with the support from this programme. ATU runs a monthly support group. This not only provides emotional and practical support to those families, but we also provide things like health insurance. We advocate for the children to be in schools.
Some of the children were there, they can't talk well, but through this SNAP, now they can talk small, and they are even schooling.
First, I don't do her exercise, but now because of SNAP, I'm having some education to take care of her.
Although the practical and educational aspects of SNAP are important, the most valuable thing that we are doing is giving hope to a community of people that have nobody else to fight for them.
Because I always go to the SNAP meeting and see so many parents having such children, I always feel happy and know that I'm not alone.
By bringing people together, by enabling the children to get to know each other and play with each other, to enable the parents to talk, and to communicate, to share their issues, we are absolutely changing the way that those parents see their children, but also the way that the entire community sees those children and other children with disability.
In Lawra, we found these children useless and not anything good to think about. Now mothers embrace their children, and that alone, wiping away the tears of a mother.
Nearly 100 families in the district of Lawra are now regularly accessing our SNAP programme, and around 50 families in Trough also accessing our programme there. So this is a huge amount of people that we're impacting in this very regular way. These women and men are absolutely amazing, and they've often fought against the wishes of their communities, their families, to keep these children alive, and our support is really important to them.
AT is trying to erase that bad mind, bad thinking. Human being is a human being, and we have to give respect to whosoever that is created in the image of a human being. Life here is all about surviving. Things are hard here. People can't even get some food a day to eat because of the heat. There's lack of development. The only job situation here is you must either be a teacher or nurses. There's nothing like private companies operating here. Setting up a business is not for 1 month to collapse. No, you are setting up what you want your life to be in 10 years' time. And that will give you the way to live, because that is where you have to survive from.
We know that enabling sustainable income generation is vital to enable the people of Lawra to pull themselves out of poverty. In this project, we have now supported 49 small businesses in the Lawra district. We support them through grants, training and mentoring. We work with a variety of business people, often extremely vulnerable, living in extremely basic conditions. People that already have skills and already have the motivation to set up or expand their business. People like weavers, seamstresses, farmers. Francis and Betty, who live in Curly as ground-up farmers, again another extremely vulnerable couple.
And the only job that they have is to farm. That is the only thing they can do to survive, is to farm. And they started with 1 acre. Then when they heard about Action to Enterprise, They came, picked the application form. We saw that it was necessary to help people like that in the community. We gave them the grant. They have added another acre, making 2 acres of land.
Da me school bibi pome ha matwa da uniform ko be da na fa fele ko be ha me no me adak matwa me pekafie ha.
Their life has improved. They are living well. Their children are going to school. They are farming there to sell the granules, to eat the granules, and to pay their children's school fees.
When I met the Zambo weavers, they were really struggling to survive. They had had some health issues and had actually had to sell their weaving equipment. So what they needed from us was to buy them a weaving loom and a stock of threads. A week later, they were weaving cloth and selling it. A year later, we knew from our monthly visits how hard they'd been working, that their profits were increasing. There were 3 women and 1 set of equipment, so we bought them a second set of equipment. Then they had double the amount of capacity to make their cloth. And now they look wonderful, they're healthy, they're driven, they're motivated, their children are attending schools, they're able to buy health insurance for their children. And all that took was somebody to recognise that these are skilled people who just needed a bit of support to get going.
Motorbikes. Flat tire. Jeja. Can't return contact at call. Guy motorbike flat tire. So man well also me.
Salam Haruna we granted in 2015. Through our grant he was able to buy a stock of inner tubes at a much lower price. So Salam Haruna is now able to sell the inner tube to the person, charge for the labour, and has a much reduced fuel cost because he goes directly to the person that needs the inner tube instead of always travelling back and forth. So we essentially doubled the size of his business in terms of profitability, and also taught him to record keep, so he now keeps immaculate records, and we can see that business growing and growing and growing, and he's somebody who took on an apprentice just recently. Our cash grants are given directly to the hands of the people. We sign the contract, we sign a shopping list with that small business person so that we know exactly what they're going to spend their money on. Then we go back a week later to check what they have purchased with their grant. We take a photograph, we celebrate it, and that business person then knows that we have absolutely held them accountable for spending their business grant on their business.
We assist the small business owners in terms of translating English to Dagari so that they understand whatever is going on in the workshop. We also help them develop their business plans.
So we have 1 year relationship, monitoring your business, looking at what are the challenges, what are the successes, and what can we do to improve more.
A lot of people are now pointing fingers because they have seen from outside the benefit that people are getting. So more people want to come to ATE.
The word of mouth about our BizAid programme is really quite remarkable. We now receive hundreds of applications, and it's just wonderful that people are hearing about us and wanting to work with us. They want everything that we have opportunities to do. They want to run their own businesses and provide for their children.
The Sumbuno Awano Kungil Demila, Motway on be school fees. At one than be school, Pare. At one yawn water bill, but not on Ponu.
To eternity Roma Sunga Ben Sunimea. Matwami, Tonsho may be there. Vacant school.
The community now has realized the importance and the aims of what AT want to do. And it's not about we doing it, we all need to come together and do it if we want to change our community or to have a better future.
We see people not depending so much on others, because they can't do anything to help themselves now. They are self-sustainable. They are able to buy more. Business is booming for others too as well.
By the effort of an individual, an organization is here to serve the development needs of the area.
In educating the people, in bringing up their business level, in their poverty alleviation, it has worked tremendously.
They are changing lives. They are bringing smiles to a lot of people in Lawra, and I'm so proud.
The impact it has given to people will continue to stay with them.
Te yel man el kula ka na puba barka. Ana banton sonna atum he darne bitorne. Ana barka na puba ka mon venko tumana ko to darne bitorne.
The passion or what AT are doing is like I'm part of it, and we have to do it. And it takes me and my friends, my brothers, my sisters, it takes us to come together and realize that what the people from UK wants to give to us is not for them to benefit, but for us to benefit, and we have to do it well.
ATE is not working for individuals, it's working for the community, and it's working for the country Ghana.